Hey everybody, Dixie Thupper here. Got a little short video on loading instructions on how these rounds are here are made, how they're loaded. So I apologize for video quality. Still working on it, but we're getting there. I'll go through step by step how these are made, how to prime them, how to powder them, how to load them. These are set up for the 1-inch artillery rounds that are for fireworks. Basically, they're fireworks rounds, signaling device. This is for signaling purposes. And I've got obviously got this bandolier loaded. These 5 orange and these 2 are all straight star, basically star bangers, and these 3 and this one here with the gray cap are whistlers. So they'll whistle and then they'll go boom. So anyway, that's kind of what's going on. I'm going to splice together the video here, and it should give you a good overview of how to load these. This file will be released probably next week on my Odyssey page. If you're interested in the bandolier, I have a few more left. I think I have about 10 or 11 left, I think, on eBay. They're brand new in the wrap, in the package, and they're $65. So if you message me and let me know that you saw the video here, just say, hey, I saw the video on YouTube, and I will send you a coupon, save you $5 off. So, and anyway, that's it. We'll get going. So to prime it, before I prime it, when they print out, sometimes the hole for the primer I have set a little on the small side, because if you make it too big, you can't add material. But if you make it too small, you can drill it out. Get yourself a 6mm drill bit. You can go 1/4 inches. 1/4 inch is too big. It'll make it too sloppy. 6mm is perfect. So I just run the 6mm drill bit through those. And to prime it, I use my Remington STS. This is the primer you want to use. I've used others. They don't work very well, guys. You're going to get light primer strikes, etc., etc. So you're going to take that primer and you're going to set it down in here after you've drilled that out. And it doesn't take but one little pass. And the primers have a little step on them. So you can see here, you can see on the front, they're a little, kind of have a little step there, that little curved area that will push right into the bottom of the casing here, and it'll stay put like that. See how it stays put? Once you got that done, set it on something. A lot of times I'll use a 2x4 just in case you pop one. They will pop every now and then. I haven't had this issue with these Remingtons at all. Doing it in this method, I use a wood dowel and just make sure that the bottom's fairly flat. This one's, it's okay, but you can take a sander and sand it smooth again. You just don't want it pointed. And you take that, let's see if we can scoot this up. Get these on here. So we're gonna set it down like that so you can see. We're gonna scoot these over, and I'm going to take just a hammer and this dowel, and I'm gonna lay it on top and just tap it till it seats. And you'll hear that difference and hear how that sounds. Then you know it's pretty much seated. Sometimes you might have to give it a little bit extra. I have hit these directly with the face of the hammer. That obviously is how they'll go off a lot easier. So see, that's seated in there. It doesn't have to be perfectly flush. It can be slightly raised like that. It will still work fine in most all launchers. But if you have issues with that, then work on it till you get it flush. So same thing with this one. There we go. Now we're primed in there. See, this one's a little more flush. You can kind of see it down in there. that's it. That's all there is to it for priming. Next, we'll move on to powder. Loading process. Make this pretty quick. This is 777. It's Hogden. This is a FFG, 2FG. Let's see. Gives you some load data. This is mainly for like 50 caliber muzzle loaders, 54 caliber muzzle loaders. This is what I use in all my 209 primed 37 millimeter rounds. Okay, so we're going to measure out, since black powder substitutes are measured by volume. We don't weigh it, we measure it with a measurer. So if you don't have one of these, you need to get one. Having a little funnel is handy too. We're going to measure out 50 grains. I use 50 grains almost exclusively for almost every load I use. It works very well. And you want to tap it. Check, this is 40, so I'm going to go a little bit more. Go to 50 grains. There's just hair below. And you can actually 3D print a scoop that'll give you the exact measurement every time if you want to, and then all you have to do is scoop and dump. The other option is you can get the 50-50 pellets, which are 777 compressed into a pellet that's 50 caliber wide and 50 grains total. So it's already pre-measured, and that you can just drop right in here. You don't have to do anything to it. Some of the other casings I make, they will fit in there, especially if you lay them in there sideways, wrap them in a little toilet paper, stick them down in there. When that primer goes off, it will ignite it, trust me. And it works. So 50 grains, right? So we're gonna go ahead and dump our charge down there. These are deeper powder cups in here, so you wanna tap it to make sure that the powder's settled down in there. And you know, if you have a flashlight or something, you can look down in there and see. Obviously, you don't want any source of flame or anything anywhere near where you're doing this. No candles, no matches. If you have a lighter or something, make sure it's put away. Make sure there's nothing burning. I don't even really use the hot glue around it too much. I'll use the battery operated one, but the plug-in one, I move everything. So that's 50 grains. So we're going to do 2 more charges, 50 grains, because these are the 3 I'm loading. This one I'm not going to load because I have a bandolier with 11 pockets on it, and I have 8 of them filled currently. So I only need 3 more. So, and then I'll be ready to go out and test. So again, we're going to measure for the 50 grains. That's correct. I'm gonna dump that in there. It's a little easier to see in the red than the blue, so the brighter colors, they're easier to see into. So I'll probably make a lot of these out of white, orange, yellow, red, those type colors for fireworks. And here in Florida, you're not allowed to shoot fireworks except 3 times a year during the holidays, unless you're using them for agricultural purposes, which is to scare birds. And I currently have about 18 acres of land here that I often have to scare off wildlife, coyotes, birds, foxes, you name it, because I have chickens and ducks, and they will get them. I had last year, or a couple years ago, I had an attack by coyotes, and they got about 10 of my chickens. I had about 80, 90 chickens at the time. My neighbor, they got some of his stuff over there. I think he has some hogs. I think they got one of his hogs, and he was able to sit back there and track them, and he got all 3 of them. I actually had a good shot at them, but the shot was they were directly in between me and my neighbor, so I couldn't make the shot. It wasn't a safe shot, so I was not able to get them the night. I waited up the next night to get those suckers. Okay, so we got the 3 casings were already loaded prepped with 50 grains of 777. Like I said, when you're done with this, put the powder away, put the lid on it. You don't want it spilling over. You don't want any powder or anything residual, whatever you're doing your loading. This powder's down in the cup. You don't have to worry about anything as far as wadding or nothing like that. These are your 1-inch artillery shells you buy. They go down in a cardboard tube, and they usually have the fuse that comes up to the top, and you light the fuse and they shoot off in the air and make a kapow, kaboom, whistle, or whatever. So they've been stripped down, the fuse has been removed, the powder has been removed. I don't use the powder charges out of here. I use 777. This is a lift charge. Lift charge pushes the projectile into the air. Burst charge is inside here. In between here and the burst charge is inside this portion of this cardboard tube. I have printed these push discs that I use, and I fuse them separately. And then what I do is I strip these down, pour that powder out. There's another fuse in here and a plug, and you add a tad bit of 777 I usually use. I may use some of their powder if I know what it is. If it looks like big grains, it's usually 1F or 2F black powder. Just sprinkle a little bit, and I cut some of the fuse sections that come with it, and I use the fuse that comes with it to fuse it. And I'll put that in there, and I glue this. This black stuff is hot glue. That's what this is. It's just, it comes in colors. I like the black. It's very visible. It's easy for me to see getting older. Once that's all done, you have a flash charge, a few sections of fuse in there for additional lighting, as far as good ignition. Then you're ready to load this. So all you do with these, once you have your powder in here and everything's settled at the bottom, you take this and you stick it right down in there all the way to the bottom. And then you have your lid, your cap. These caps, I'm gonna have multiple sizes and shapes. They just twist on. So what you want to do is pull some of this stuff out of the way, and you can just kind of get it on there. And once you get it on there, it will squeeze out on there. It'll hold by friction. I like to put a little glue on them just to make sure. And that's a completed round right there. It's ready to go. You don't have to do any other glue in here if you don't want to. If it's really loose, you can. So this one here this is a Whistler. Now the Whistlers are a little different. You still load them the same, but they don't have a fuse. They have a rocket nozzle in the back. Basically, it's a little cup. It's about a 1/4 inch wide. You'll see a white powder in it. That's sugar rocket is what that is. So same concept. I put a little more flash in there on this because I want it to ignite the whistle. And what'll happen is you'll pull the trigger. This will go boom. This is going to launch out. When this ignites here, it's going to pop and ignite that whistler, and it'll shoot off and go and then boom. Okay. That's what they do. So we're going to go ahead and load the Whistler. And the Whistler, I'm going to use a different color top so I know which one's which. So I'm using the gray top for the Whistler. I'm going to go ahead and seat this down. Well, let me make sure before I seat it. Yep, my powder's still in the cup properly. I'm going to go ahead and line everything up. Get these. You can cut these strings off. I just didn't. These mortar rounds are different lengths. That's the reason why the caps are so big. The last one you saw was down like here. This one's about a 1/4 inch above. So it's still, like I said, it's holding in. And then you're just going to take, and again, push down, twist, and there you go. There's a Whistler. So I know that one's a Whistler because it's got the gray top. My other Whistlers are gray in the bandolier, and the regular are orange. So these will be, so I just spilled this powder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remeasure it because I accidentally spilled it. So let's see. See if I can find something this will work. Try to save as much of this as possible because I was not paying attention close enough and I spilled it. Something flatter. Yeah, this will work. hot glue there picking me up, dude. Alright, that's where we're at. I lost just a tiny bit, not a ton. Let's see, set that in there for a second here. You can go more than 50 grains on these. I don't really advise it. There's kind of a point of no return where you don't get any additional gain by adding more powder. And it seems to be around that 50 grain mark with these 37s. So we're gonna redo this. Bam, we got our charge back in there. We're gonna make sure everything's in there. And we're gonna put this over here, set that aside. This will load around, we'll set those there. We have our last mortar shell. We're gonna go ahead and seat it. See how loose this one is. They're gonna be variable tightness. I usually leave the paper on top because it kind of helps with holding it in. But the different tubes, as they come, they're different thicknesses. There's no real standardization. It seems it is China made, so there's that. I'm gonna take my solid top, matches colors, right? And I'm going to put this on. Now see how loose this one is? Once you do this, you push this all the way down and they're seated in there, and you push this on top of it. If you carefully pull it off, let's see it like that. You'll see it stays at the proper level. So this is the exact distance it needs to be. And at that point, you can hot glue that onto this if you'd like. So all I'm going to do is make sure that's all down in there again, and this time not spill it, right? And then I'm going to let my hot glue gun heat up a little bit, and while I'm waiting for that, then I'll seal it and everything I put together. And I'm going to seal these as well. But anyway, that's a basic premise of how these are loaded. Like I was saying before, these shells are going to be reusable. You don't have to worry about all this stuff here. You can take one of these or a lighter away from the powder, and this will just kind of all these little strings will come out. It's not a big deal. That's pretty much it, and this gives you an idea how these fit down in there. They just drop right in. These are made slightly smaller on the outside diameter than these tubes. If you can notice, this is a little smaller, and I did that on purpose, so it was set down on that ledge in there. So and that's what this one's. You can't really see it too well, but it's sitting on the ledge down in there. Push disc. I'm making more of those now. I'm going to release this model in 2 different style caps. There's going to be a shorter cap because these are pretty tall, and if you don't have a good bandolier like one of these, and not even all of these will work. Some of these are looser, they fit better than others. These are the ones I loaded the other day. So this is my whistlers over here, but they fit in here fine. This is a UK DPM bandolier. They're military surplus. They're very well made, and they're hard to get now. They surplused out a bunch, so there was a bunch there for the last 6 months or so, but I got as many as I could that were new old stock, brand new in the wrap, and my supplier has run out. I'm down to like the last 10 or so on eBay. So if you look up Dixie Thumper on eBay, you can see, I have some of these bandoliers. If you don't have one of these and you have a 37 R40, you really should get one of these bandoliers before they're gone, because they are really nice. I mean, I've got my own little personal stash of about 10 of them now, but I have 5 40 millimeters and 3 37s, and I'm going to get a lot more, so I need a lot of bandoliers. The elastic loop bandoliers with no bottoms, I don't like those. If something should happen and this comes loose, you have your round upside down, it'll fall out. which means you got to use a whole lot more glue. I don't like using a lot of glue. I like using minimal glue. So, you know, when you use the glue, I just use enough just to hold it in. And if you, and like on the cap, I only do like 3 dots here. And they don't even have to be a lot, just enough to keep it in place. Stick them down in there, and then I give it a little twist. And you can smear this off if you want, or you can wait till it dries and peel it off. Just be careful with your glue. If you have a really hot glue gun, the glue can scald your hands. I've got calluses on my thumbs, and it doesn't matter how hot it is. I can touch it pretty much and it won't bother me. Now obviously if it's smoking and liquid, I'm not putting my finger anywhere near it, because I've done that before, and got that good tactile memory built in. It doesn't feel good. On these I'm gonna go ahead and add a couple drops as well, because why not, right? So all I'm gonna do with them is I'm going to pull them out, make sure that's still seated. Do the same thing here, 3 little dots. The more glue you put on here, the more back pressure you're gonna get on these rounds, okay? So when if you're firing your launcher and you have this sucker glued on hardcore, you're gonna get overpressure, and you could damage your launcher or yourself. So just be careful. You know, more glue is not necessarily always better. Just enough to hold it in place is all I do. And like on this one, you don't even have to pull it all the way out. All I have to do is come in here and just give it 3 small squeezes and squeeze it back down and give it a twist. And you see how a lot of the excess is already outside. I'm gonna let that one dry, and then I'll peel it off. And then these are ready to put in the bandolier. And I got 1 extra here. I'll probably print out a couple dozen of these and sell them in units of 3 each with some push disc. But anyway, that's how that works, guys. You know, stock up after 4th of July, New Year's Eve. Put on a show. Do so whatever you do so safely. You can also use any 1-inch tube that's going to fit in here. You got to test fit them. You might actually have to get like a 15/16 tube. You can buy those from fire supply houses, and then you can load your own load out of those if you want to build it. I've taken and put in like little firecrackers in them, and some of those killer bee things that make sparks and stuff. You just go grab the stuff that's cheap. Even jumping jacks and stuff like that, as long as you're in an area where you don't have to worry about fire. If you have to worry about fire, you need to always take that precaution. We don't want to set anything on fire. We got to be responsible, so we don't have people calling for flare launchers to be banned or whatever. So again, these are for signaling purposes. They're not for anything. They're not for anti-personnel use. If you use this for anti-personnel use, you can get into big trouble. Okay, so my advice to you is to stay within the boundaries of the law. Nothing I do here is intended for anti-personnel use or any type of law-breaking activity. That's the caveat. You are responsible for your actions, not me. You're responsible to know your own state laws too. Look them up and find out what's legal and what's not legal in your state. Most states, flare launchers are good to go. Most states, this won't be a problem. Some states, they may. Anyway, appreciate your time. Thank you, and we'll holler at you.